Welcome back, everybody, to today's episode of Bears Talk Today. No catchy intro, no fluff, no thank you for coming, none of that. Nothing to smile about right now. The Bears started off their season with a spaghetti-sized stain on a white T-shirt. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined, to quote the legend himself. The Bears, if we could throw up the score graphic, the Bears lost this one 27-24 against the Minnesota Vikings. This game was at home. This was not only the debut of Ben Johnson, but it was the debut of Vikings quarterback JJ McCarthy. A lot of good in this game turned into a lot of bad really, really quickly. It was 17-6 going into the fourth quarter. It ended 27-24. Justin, is there any way to make sense of what happened last night, or are we just living in a simulation?
That's a very good question, Mike. And JJ McCarthy, I was unfamiliar with your game. I came last week talking all this smack about how you're a rookie quarterback, and I guess you showed us, or maybe our team was just so bad that we just couldn't recover. But, I mean, there was a lot to make of this game. I mean, we led 17-6 going into the fourth quarter, and it just seemed like we were just going to be able to hold on for 12 more minutes to be able to get our first win of the season. But in true Bears fashion, we start off the third quarter with a missed field goal by Santos, and then it just completely went downhill from there. So, because I saw a lot of people on Twitter were like, blame Caleb, blame this. No, this was everyone's fault.
This is a group effort.
Yeah, this is a group effort. All of them were terrible.
This is a group effort.
Yeah.
You brought up Cairo Santos, and I guess I'll just get into my rant on him really quick.
Go ahead, bro.
We need a new kicker. It's time.
Yeah.
The guy can't kick a 50-yard field goal, which in the NFL is becoming more and more and more routine. In the same game as the Vikings kicker Will Reichard nailing a 59-yarder. Not making, nailing a 59-yarder. That kick would have been good from probably 65.
Yeah.
Cairo Santos not only missed the field goal, not only does he not have a good leg, but at the end of the game cost us a pivotal stoppage of the clock by not being able to get the ball out of the back of the end zone, allowing Ty Chandler to return it, take the remaining seconds before the 2-minute warning, and obviously preventing the Bears from having another clock stoppage. Ben Johnson said after the game the plan was for him to kick it out of the back of the end zone. It appears he just didn't have the leg to do so. So Cairo Santos is somebody to blame. Now, we talked about this earlier, Justin. The game started off so well. Offense, for the first time in over a year, gets the ball, first drive, marches down the field, scores a touchdown. Caleb looked good. Caleb looked like he knew where to distribute the ball. He was moving around. To be honest, all night he actually moved around very well. I thought his pocket presence was the one thing that was consistently good yesterday. But he was finding his outlets. He, was making nice throws.
Yeah.
And that was where I thought, okay, the Bears got something right now. Their defense had back-to-back 3-and-outs. Both were punctuated by sacks. I believe one was from Dexter. I think the other one was from Dio Odengbo, who I will say did have a really nice game yesterday. He was all over the field. And, it just felt like that first half, the Bears dominated.
Yeah.
And, the score didn't necessarily reflect that. The Vikings kind of got a cheap field goal at the end of the half. That meant that 59-yarder from Will Reichard, like I mentioned. But the Bears, I thought they were in cruise control. They were going to get the ball in the second half. And third quarter was fine. You know what I'm saying? Offense sputtered a little bit, but the defense I thought was still strong. The biggest play of the game, the play that I thought was the knockout punch, was the pick six.
Yeah.
I thought when we got that pick six, the stadium was ruckus. It was a guy, to be completely honest with you, I had never heard of.
Yeah.
Nashawn Wright. I was unfamiliar with your game. He played a heck of a game yesterday. Pick six, 17-6 going into the later stages of the third quarter. I thought the game was over. I thought that was the Mike Tyson right hook, knock him out, don't let him up.
Yeah.
But the Vikings got up.
No, I mean it's just crazy because we've had losses like this before, and I think because you had predicted that they were going to lose. I had predicted that they were going to win. But neither of us predicted that they were going to
win the first half. Yeah,
that they were going to win the first 24 minutes of the game, but not the last.
They won like the first 40.
40, yeah.
They won yeah. It was...
So it just, it's hard not to have that feeling of, oh, is this the same as what we're going to see from last year? It was funny before we got on our show. I didn't tell you this, but I had seen a graphic on social media where they had Matt Nagy, Matt Eberflus, and Ben Johnson all looking puzzled, and the caption was like, "You can't escape Chicago's curse." And I was like, you know what? I don't want to believe it, but it's just a disappointing start. Only because it does not get easier in week 2. We got Detroit next, so it's like, okay, I would rather us go 1-1 than 0-2, but yeah, I just thought it just was. Like I said, I think we just got tired around the end of the third, going into the fourth quarter. There were way too many penalties, a lot of questionable ones, but some that were like, okay, we didn't need to have that, and that pushed us back, or it gave the Vikings an advantage. They capitalized. So I just thought overall it was just disappointing. You know?
Sloppy for sure. You mentioned the penalties. 12 penalties, over 100 penalty yards the Bears committed yesterday.
Insane.
That's just not what well-coached teams do. And so for that, obviously the coaching deserves some criticism.
Yeah.
Caleb deserves some criticism. I thought after his kind of early, they talked about on the broadcast, he was like 10 for his first 10.
Yeah.
Even though he maybe missed some shots down the field. But Caleb looked very inaccurate the rest of the game. I mean, he missed a lot of throws. The fourth down to DJ Moore was like the first one where you're kind of like, ooh, that was a bad miss.
Yeah.
He missed Komet. He missed Loveland. He missed Odunze a couple of times. He missed Swift out of the backfield. Like, there were a lot of 100-mile-an-hour fastballs that were not in the strike zone.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And that's the problem that he had last year, where we all know that Caleb's arm talent is ridiculous. Ridiculous. The problem for him has been accuracy, and he did not do a lot to quiet those concerns yesterday. He was fairly inaccurate, which is concerning. The other thing to me that's really concerning, and I'll pull up the numbers, but the eye test tells me they were not able to run the ball at all yesterday.
No. I was going to say Swift looked like he kind of struggled. He did have some nice little 10, 20-yard gains, but it wasn't as strong as we needed it to be, and the Vikings ran the ball like the Bears didn't have a defensive plan at all. So.
Yeah. Well, Caleb himself had 58 rushing yards. I did say he moved around pretty well. Obviously, he had that scramble for the touchdown on the first drive. DeAndre Swift, 17 carries for 53 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. That's not going to do it.
No.
That's not going to do it in the NFL. I'm sorry. And so our inability to run the ball, DJ Moore had 3 carries for 8 yards. Take away Caleb Williams, the Bears had 60 rushing yards. Yeah. I mean, that's not going to do it in the NFL. I'm sorry. No. Especially not against a Brian Flores-led Vikings defense. On a positive end, they didn't have any turnovers. They won the turnover battle, you could say. But from a penalty perspective, from a blocking perspective, from Caleb Williams' accuracy perspective, was not good enough offensively today. No. Was not good enough. So there was a lot of – and then we mentioned, obviously, the – special teams miscues from Cairo Santos. Yeah. There was also a blocked punt that kind of took a really good Chicago bounce. It kind of like bounced, and it still was a decent punt, but you can't have blocked punts in punt coverage. So special teams, 3 huge goofs. We had the offense making big mistakes. Defensively, like we mentioned, they just collapsed going into like that end of that third quarter into early in the fourth quarter. But it was kind of an embarrassment. And, to bring up, we talked about the mistakes. Ben Johnson mentioned that as well. We have another graphic for our post-game quote from Ben Johnson. He said, "We made too many mistakes in this game, myself included." I think that was kind of the name of the game for the Bears in the fourth quarter was mistakes. Yeah. Bad execution, not doing things the right way, not managing the clock. I thought the Bears could have managed the clock a little bit better on their last possession where they did get into the end zone, but they bled a little too much clock to where after that kickoff, there was no 2-minute warning. They only had one timeout. At that point, the Vikings had a fairly easy time just running out the clock. So mistakes are the name of the game for the Bears. And, again, this is the pattern that we saw last year. Too many mistakes, too many boneheaded plays, too many just horrible timing incidents that the Bears are going to have. And they got to get that cleaned up. Yeah. Disappointing loss. I was talking to Justin earlier today off camera. I said I think that's the most disappointing Bears loss since the Commanders game last year.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean you shouldn't have 2 games like that in one calendar year. That's just not fair.
Yeah,
that we should get some sort of reimbursement
compensation
check for that. Yeah,
something.
Where's the stimulus check for the Bears fans right now? We need some of those.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was the game. I mean, very disappointing. Is there anything? I mean, do you have anything else to add about the game before we kind of continue off of it? Because
yeah, I mean, I think overall, like I said before, this was a team loss. I don't think there's any particular person to blame. I think overall, when you look at Ben Johnson as a coach, I mean, obviously he only coached one game, but in the few games that the Lions lost, I mean, there were some risky, plays that Ben Johnson called. So this isn't normal. This isn't normal to me. I've seen this before when, Ben was the OC of the Lions. But, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the season was a little overhyped, but I just thought we would be able to hold on to our lead. And even if it was 12-17, I wouldn't even be mad at that. But the fact that they just came in there, and even, the last touchdown now scored by McCarthy, he literally just nobody touched him. He ran into the end zone. Nobody touched him. I thought, Jonathan Owens stopping that 2-point conversion that the Vikings had was great, but it wasn't enough, right?
Right.
And if Santos did make that kick, we would have still had a lead going into the fourth, and that would have put more pressure on the Vikings to try to either get a field goal or, to try to make something happen in the end zone. So it's just – it's very disappointing, and I don't, our next opponent is not going to be anyone who is easier, right? This could be a team that just lost.
Yeah,
so.
And I'll say this too, Justin. If before the game yesterday you told me Bears lost 27-24, I'd say, okay, well, close game.
Sure.
Vikings, I think I'm still high on the Vikings. I think they're going to be very good like they were last year.
Yeah.
You'd say, okay, it was tough fought divisional game, prime time, whatever. But if you tell me, hey, the Bears go into the fourth quarter 17-6, and they're in position for a 50-yard field goal, I'd say, wow, that's great. So you tell me that they lost that. They lost the game in which they had a 17-6 lead. Their defense was kicking butt all day. Caleb had made some nice plays up to that point. They were in position for a very makeable kick, and they let the lead slip out of their fingers. Like, to me, that's the disheartening part, is the way that the game ended. Not so much the loss, because I did predict them to lose. Yeah. It was the way they lost that was, I think, so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But it's week one. I'm not going to give up on Caleb. I'm not going to give up on Ben Johnson yet.
Not yet.
And I think you're foolish if you do so. We can't judge anything by – now, if we have a couple of these games by Thanksgiving, I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
But – let's settle down a little bit. It's week one. I know emotions are high.
Yeah.
I was hot last night for sure. I was
too. I turned the TV off once McCarthy scored, and it was 27-17. I'm like, all right, that's it. It's over. Yeah.
But anyways, okay. So going on to our second segment, we want to talk about a couple of the things going on in the NFL that will pertain to the Bears in the future.
Yeah.
So, Justin, of the future Bears opponents, who impressed you the most in week one?
And I hate to say it because they're our rival.
Yep.
But Green Bay really looked good.
They look good.
I mean, from Jordan Love making spectacular passes to, Micah Parsons pressuring,
Jared Goff
and just being able to, throw him out of his element. I mean, Jared Goff and the offensive line for the Lions have always been kind of questionable, but it seemed like last year nobody can touch him, and this year – it seems like the Packers defense really pressured them. I mean, I'm not going to lie. They looked really, really good. I think that overall, like I said in our final, preseason episode, I think they're going to have issues in the playoffs. We'll see. I mean, Jordan Love is great in the regular season, but the postseason is where my concern really, lies with him. But they look really good. I mean, they came in here. It wasn't like the Lions were close. I mean, they came in there and pretty much gave the Lions a run for their money. Jared Goff is pressured. Sonic and Knuckles, Jahmyr Gibbs. They just seemed like nothing was really working to get past him. And eventually, Micah Parsons got his first sack, which was also pretty cool to watch.
Speaking of Sonic and Knuckles, between the two of them, 20 carries, 44 yards.
That is sickening.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's good for. I mean, we play the Lions next week, so maybe that's good. But I mean, my big concern with the Packers going into the season was, well, I like their offense, and I think their defense made strides last year under Jeff Hafley, but I don't know if I love their pass rush. Now I love their pass rush.
Yeah, their pass rush is dangerous.
Micah Parsons changes the formula for this Green Bay team, so I agree with you. I was very high on the Packers. Another team I think under the radar that kind of impressed me was the Cowboys. Cowboys impressed me. I expected the Cowboys to kind of take a significant step back. Their offense looked really good against the Eagles, who just 7 months ago were dominating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, I get there's some moving pieces and whatever, but I just want to give a shout-out to the Cowboys. I've been a little mean to them.
Yeah.
You know, we've been slandering the
We'll
the Dallas.
unslander the slander for
Yeah,
now.
we
Just
will,
a little
we'll
bit.
rescind the slander a little bit.
Just a tiny bit.
But one opponent that I will say, and I know last week we gave our predictions on before the season, you know, going by the schedule. One opponent that I would like to flip my pick. Maybe, I don't remember what my pick was. I was on the fence.
Okay.
I said the Cincinnati game is 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
I think I predicted a loss because the game's in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving the Bears a win. They look
Really?
horrible. They had
Yeah,
the
it
Bengals
was-
had 7 net yards in the second half and won.
Yeah,
They beat the Browns by 1 point.
they did.
And I'm not just saying that because Jamar Chase gave me 4.5 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
I picked you number 1 overall. You better pick it up. Anyways, the Bengals did not look good at all.
No.
And I'm just going to say this. Maybe that game's a win for the Bears now. I expect
Really?
the Bengals to look a lot better.
Wow.
And I know the Bengals start every year slow.
Yeah.
But that was one opponent that I had a thought on. Now, Justin, in terms of the NFC North, we're going to keep an eye on this all year. This is one of the best divisions in football.
Yeah.
Only 2 games between the NFC North. Both were divisional games. The Packers whooped up on the Lions, and the Vikings, as we just spent time talking about, came back and ripped our hearts out. As a whole, as a division, what are your thoughts on the NFC North? Do you think they're the juggernaut that they were last year, or do you think that there is maybe some holes in the armor that the Bears could take advantage of?
I think there's definitely still holes in the armor, right? Even if you look at the game we played last night, we led. They struggled, right? And obviously we had a huge defensive collapse that led to our loss. But other teams that are better than the Bears or that could be able to hold a lead can win against these teams. You've just seen it, right? You've just seen a near Vikings loss that almost happened. And you've seen once you have a dominant team in front of Jared Goff and the Lions, they can lose.
Yeah.
And I believe the Packers can lose too if they face the Eagles or if they face a really good AFC or NFC team out there. So I think the NFC North, for right now, it's only week 1. I still think there are some holes that the Bears can obviously be able to take advantage of or, attack. But it's more about, let the other 3 teams in the division beat themselves up. Seriously, let them go
cannibalize
war.
themselves. Yep.
Yeah, let them work on themselves and lose and win. And as long as we're able to win consistently, we could still. I honestly think we can be 3rd in the division. I'm still going to be on the Viking slander. Because it was the Bears and because of what our history has unfortunately been. I don't see them doing that twice. Lightning doesn't strike twice, is the saying. I don't see. Who knows? Anything could happen in the NFL, but I just do not see the JJ McCarthy having a Sam Darnold season where they just go 14-7. I think this was a fluke. I mean, they got luckily, Jay Jetta's Justin Jefferson was able to get a couple of catches at the end. But if you play extremely well, exceptional defense, and they lock up Justin Jefferson and they lock up their run game, JJ McCarthy's going to look like he did the first 3 quarters of last night.
Well, I think it's a fair point to say that the Bears took their foot off the gas.
Oh,
100%. Not in terms of, I guess, them not trying, but in terms of
they got tired.
A lot of teams, if you dominate them through 3 quarters, will pull so far ahead that there's no chance to come back. There's no chance to do what the Vikings did last night. And the Bears,
unless you're Josh Allen,
unless you're Josh Allen and no lead is ever safe.
No lead is ever safe. It's very rare.
We don't have Josh Allen, not yet at least. But no, any good team in the NFL, if they'd been dominating for 3 quarters, would have made the game so far out of reach that 4th quarter would be essentially garbage time. There'd be no hope for a comeback. So I get what you're saying. Like if the Vikings play every game like that, that's like the old Tim Tebow Broncos. They would score 6 points, and then Tebow would lead them on 2 game-winning drives or whatever. And you can't win consistently like that in the NFL. So if that's their formula, I think that you're correct.
Yeah.
But I'm still really, really high on them. Unfortunately, that's why I predicted them to win. Now, Justin, let's transition into another NFC North opponent, another divisional game. Week 2, the Bears play against the Detroit Lions, and you might be wondering, Mike, what is so significant about this Lions game? Well, good thing I'm going to tell you. It is the homecoming of our coach, Ben Johnson, his first game against his home team. And this is Since You've Been Gone. How the Lions looked last week against the Packers versus their 2024 averages with Ben Johnson. Yards, they had 410 a game, 33.2 points per game, and they were 47.5% on third down. They were one of the best units in the NFL. Last week against Green Bay, only 246 yards of offense, only scored 13 points, about a third of that if my math is correct. And then they were only 33% on third down. Now, I guess you could say, Justin, that both the Bears and Lions had their chance and they blew it.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're not out of sight and out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Kelly Clarkson reference for you normies out there. But since you've been gone, do you think, Justin, in your opinion, that the Lions' offensive struggles last week were a result of Ben Johnson leaving, or do you credit that to just having a bad week, playing a really good Packers team? What do you think the core of their problem was last week offensively?
I think it's because of the loss of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. When you have normally, when there's coaching transition and changes, you normally only see one or two coaches maybe leave in a season or an off season. You don't see both the offensive and defensive coordinator leave for head coaching jobs. And that's a big adjustment, no matter if the next guy in front of them is better or not. So I kind of expected for the Lions to kind of have a regression offensively, or to regress offensively, just because you're understanding this player, this coach's mindset, what plays they want to run, how they think in their brain. I mean, that's a lot of adjustment. And one training camp is not going to be able to really get a full season's understanding, especially when you play in the real game. I just think it's because of the coaching change. I think because they were there for a little while, right? I mean, it wasn't like they were, they were there for a couple of years. So that's going to be a huge adjustment for everybody. Now, I do think that, I'll give credit to the Packers again, which I hate doing, but they were really good. They played well, right? They felt confident, especially after getting one of the best linemen in the game of football now. So that was also, they had a really good defense, plus not having your offensive and defensive coordinator from last year, that'll make any team struggle. I agree. I think a big reason why they struggled was the loss of Ben Johnson, who's been running the offense for 3 years. They're also their wide receivers coach, Antoine Randall. Guess where he's at right now? He's in Chicago as well. So this is I think a big revenge game for both of these teams, right? The Lions want to prove, hey, we're still one of the powerhouses of the NFC, even without our two coordinators that we lost, Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator. And for the Bears, I think they want to prove, hey, what we showed last night, what we showed against the Vikings, that's not the team we're going to be going forward. We're going to be more buttoned up. We're going to be, we're going to have better execution. We're going to do the little things correctly. So in terms of the game, what does Vegas think? We have our betting line and our over-under for today. Now, I will say the betting line and over-under has changed. Our graphic now says 46.5 is the over-under. The over-under is now 46.5. Our graphic says 47.5. And the Lions have been bumped from 4.5-point favorites to 5.5-point favorites. So crazy. That
tells you that right after the Bears game, people were coming in pretty heavy on the Lions, and Vegas had to change the line. Justin, do you think for a home game in the Lions, Bears are coming off of not only a heartbreaking loss but on short rest, do you think the 5.5-point line of being favorites is justified for the Lions?
I mean, unfortunately, I think it is justified. I think that when you look at the kind of the tail of the tape or the names on the stat sheet, I mean, the Lions are clearly better. I mean, as of right now. So I think definitely we may be able to take some advantage of some early offensive struggles if we're able to really pressure Jared Goff. But I'm just really hoping this O-line can hold up against Hutchinson and everyone else that will be coming after Caleb Wright. You didn't see – I know we didn't talk about this earlier, but I definitely thought the offensive line wasn't too bad, but Caleb was still being pressured. He got sacked. He was running out of the pocket, throwing it out of bounds. So there's still some small minor fixes that the offensive line needs to do. And I don't think we're going to win this game. I'm not confident. I said that before in our preseason, win and loss predictions. I just don't see them. I mean, it's just hard. Maybe if this was at Soldier Field, I'd be like, yeah, we got a chance. We're at home. But, I mean, the Vikings lost. They're pissed off. Dan Campbell's ready to bite some kneecaps. And it might just be Ben Johnson. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, it's just – I'm just not confident in that right now.
I agree. The Lions are out for revenge right now.
They are.
And, this game, I was feeling a lot better about it Sunday night. I thought, wow, the Lions look bad, and the Bears, they're going to win tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually – I had deluded myself into believing that for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, now I'm kind of back to being like, okay, the Lions should probably win. Conventional betting wisdom tells you that you get 3 points for being the home team normally.
Yeah.
So that tells you that they think that the Bears or the Lions are quite a bit better than the Bears, which I don't disagree with. But, Justin, if we're putting on our optimistic hats for a second, if we're putting on our tinfoil caps for just a little bit, what will be some of the key matchups and key players in this game in order for the Bears to beat the Lions? What will the Bears have to do? What's the game plan? Who's going to have to step up big?
Well, first we need Jalen Johnson to be healthy.
Yes,
because,
I agree. I agree.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be on the other side, and we need somebody to cover him. So hopefully he'll be ready by next week. So I think the receiver, CB matchup is going to be something that will be a highlight to watch. I think also we have to look at, can we, Montgomery and Gibbs are going to be wanting to take their revenge, right? So can our linemen, can Sweats, and can some of these guys really get out there and slow down their, dual running back threat that they have? And really the biggest thing is, can Caleb Williams come out and be able to bounce back in a heated environment, right? This is not going to be like, oh, we're at home again. No, this is Ford Field. They get the Lions fans, they're passionate, they're loud, but can he be able to, like we said before, he has a powerful arm. He can throw it far, but we need some of those throws to be a little bit in control, right? We can't have missed throws, especially against that Lions defense, because any tip pass, any close pass that doesn't get to the receiver is a clear interception, and they will kill us with that. So I think definitely it's on both sides of the ball. I definitely think I'm a little bit more confident with our offensive line to be able to slow down Hutchinson a little bit, but yeah, it's going to be a quarterback matchup for sure. I mean, that's my biggest focus.
No, and I will say, to be optimistic and to get rid of some of the doom and gloom that's been around Chicago these past couple of days. Yeah. Do you want to know Caleb's stats in 2 games against the Lions last year?
Go for it.
46 of 79 for a 58% completion rate. Not great, but throws for 590 yards in 2 games, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a 102.8 rating. This is a team last year that was the number 1 seed in the NFC. All right, the Bears lost both of those games, yes, but they would have won one if we called a timeout. I'm still not over that. I'm sorry. I'm still not over it.
100% agree.
But he played well in both games against the Lions last year, and he gave us a chance to win. I agree with you. I think we're going to need a big Caleb Williams performance to get back into the win column this season. Yeah. The other thing I think is, if we want to make the Lions offense produce like it did last week, which was almost nothing, we have to shut down their running game first and foremost. The Bears' run defense yesterday was really good for 45 minutes. Yeah. And then Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones kind of ran wild on the Bears in the fourth quarter. Sonic and Knuckles need to be I don't play enough Sonic games, so I don't know the lore, but they need to be I can't even make an analogy. I don't even know.
Dr. Eggman needs to stop him. Is what we're saying.
We need Dennis Allen to turn into Dr. Robotnik. And do that Jim Carrey dance that he does, where he goes, I'm not dancing on camera. That's for another episode. But no, we need to stop Sonic and Knuckles first and foremost. I think if we can do that, then we can turn the Lions offense into a one-dimensional unit. And I don't think Jared Goff is the type of quarterback that can rise to the occasion and lift everybody else around him. No. I think he is – the best way I would describe Jared Goff is like a point guard, right? He's a good distributor. He can run the offense. He can manage the team. Yeah. But if the situation calls for him to, go be Superman, I don't think that he's got the suit underneath his suit. Yeah. I don't think he's got the super suit underneath his
I was going to say, you said suit underneath your suit.
I don't think he's got the super suit underneath his dress shirt is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. He doesn't take off the glasses. There's no phone booth, whatever. Right. So I think that's the key. Stop the run first and foremost. We did that well 3/4 of the game yesterday. Yeah. Caleb obviously has to play better. Now, Justin, with all of that being said, with the Bears' struggles, with what we need to do with the game line in mind, what is your score prediction for this game?
I know I said the Bears will lose. I'm going to stick by that. I think with the Lions being at home and them having that momentum, they just came from a really bad loss. I see the Bears losing 34-17. I think even though I don't know, I just feel like the Lions are going to come out hungry. They're going to run to be aggressive from the first snap once the game starts, and I think we'll keep up with them, but the Lions will eventually break away and get their home opener win.
I'm going to agree with you. Unfortunately, my prediction, I'm going to go with 27-16.
Okay.
I think this will be a lower scoring game. I think the Bears offense will sputter a little bit. I don't think that they're going to be able to run the football like they should. And I think that, like you said, they have good players on defense. Aiden Hutchinson's a good player. Brian Branch is a good player. Joseph's a good player, the safety. I think the Bears offense might struggle more than we anticipate in this one, and I think the Lions offense does get back on track. Excuse me. I know. Again, this episode we sound so pessimistic.
I know.
We sound so pessimistic.
Yeah.
My main thing is if I told you that this was going to be the result 2 weeks ago, I think everybody would be like, okay, that makes sense. I'm not buying into the Lions' dip as much. I think they're too talented from a personnel standpoint to completely collapse as an offensive unit.
Yeah.
Will they be as good without Ben Johnson? I don't think so. But
either. Yeah.
I think that they still have a lot of talented players on their roster. So
they do.
I guess we're both going with the loss, unfortunately.
The Bears are going out 1-2. I think we can be. I'll be more happy once it's Week 3 preview against the Cowboys than this. But for right now, it's just
yeah. That's why I brought up the Cowboys earlier because I know that they're probably the first win on our schedule. Anyways, that was. But again, like the Bears, we talked about this in the offseason too. Like the Bears' schedule does them no favors.
No,
the Bears' schedule is pretty brutal. I mean, they get obviously 6 games against the North. They have to play the Eagles. They have to play the Ravens. They have to play the Bengals, the Cowboys, who look better.
Yeah.
Like they do not have a standard last place schedule. They don't. This is a playoff team caliber schedule. Especially considering our division being so good. So you get 2 division games back to back. It's difficult. I understand. Yeah. And we go 0-2. That's not the end of the world. The season's not over. Ben Johnson isn't fired. But my theme this year is I want to temper expectations as much as possible as compared to last year when I thought we were going to win the Super Bowl. So, I think that pretty much does it, Justin, unless you had anything else to add. I want to thank everybody that's watching us both on YouTube and on TikTok and live on ACTV. We appreciate all of the support. But is that going to do it for us?
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. Hopefully I'm wrong and Caleb just balls out and I can do another apology, but to my own quarterback. But if you haven't been subscribed to our YouTube or our socials, please do so. We always appreciate the support and comments. Hey, I know we did see the Chicago is still trash. Yeah, I can't see that word on TV.
Yeah, we can't. I don't know who's swearing in our YouTube chat, but get this guy out of here. Get these Vikings fans out of my chat. I can't stand it. I saw that earlier and I almost read it out loud. I'm glad I did. This is a family-friendly program. There will not be cursing, even though I did a lot of that last night watching the Bears. But
trust me,
if that's going to do it, we will be live on Monday to recap the Lions game. Hopefully, we have a better tone. Yeah. Hopefully, we're a bit there. Maybe we see the Bears with more rose-tinted glasses on Monday.
Right.
But that's going to do it for us today. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week.